Thank you for joining me for this quick overview of the topic academic dishonesty. Now, here at Liberty University, students are expected to uphold what's called the Liberty Way. This is our academic and personal integrity as students of Liberty University. And when someone doesn't uphold these standards, they are guilty of something called academic dishonesty. Now, let me mention just in a few broad strokes, a few areas of academic dishonesty that you should be aware of. First of all, when we talk about academic dishonesty, I'm going to point out three areas. The first one is plagiarism. Now, plagiarism basically is when you present the words or ideas of someone else as your own without proper acknowledgement of the source. Really, in a real sense, what you're doing in plagiarism is you're stealing someone else's intellectual work or someone else's information. This is why the word plagiarism in the Greek and Latin terms anyway refer to kidnapping of some sort. So it's kidnapping of information is a good way to look at it. And plagiarism comes in a variety of forms. And everyone sort of recognizes that plagiarism occurs when you copy and paste something from a source that you find in the library or elsewhere and just paste that into your research paper and then don't cite it. Obviously that's plagiarism. But really, it's even plagiarism when you aren't just taking content, but when you summarize someone else's ideas without citing it. That would be plagiarism as well. It's information theft. And anytime you take information from a source, you need to give credit to that source. It's plagiarism when you buy or use a term paper that you found online. Maybe someone who was a former Liberty student has posted something on their blog or something like that. That would be plagiarism if you didn't cite that information. When you cut and paste passages from the web, from a book, or from somewhere else and just copy that into your paper, that's plagiarism. When you use the words or ideas of another person without citing, or if you just paraphrase someone else's words without citing them. Again, that's plagiarism. Now let me give you 3 tips to avoid plagiarism. First of all, formulate your own argument or position. Think about research as you're sitting in a room full of experts on this topic and you're trying to hear them all out. You're trying to come up with your own position about whether or not you agree or disagree with them, and you're wanting to hear their voices and then decide on your own the argument or position that is the best understanding of the topic. And then you can cite these experts and how they contributed to the conclusions you've made. So in writing a research paper, you want to rely on the experts for your paper, but really you're formulating your own argument on the basis of what the experts have said. Second tip here would be to do the research first. One of the first things that you do when you're putting together a research paper is to go and actually read up on the topic, see what information is out there, and organize where you're getting different pieces of information. Make sure you don't write the paper and then try to go back and find the information to prove or disprove your points. You really want to make sure that you're being organized in how you find the information and then how you organize it moving forward when you write your paper. The third tip is, when in doubt, ask. If you're not sure if what you're doing is plagiarism, make sure you either call the library, perhaps you could contact your professor, or the writing center. Make sure that you're not guilty of this, and if you have any particular question, by all means, feel free to ask us. Now, the second type of academic dishonesty I just want to mention here in brief is this idea of self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism is when you use a form of your paper that maybe you submit it for a different class and you thought, hey, this was a similar topic to what I'm doing in this class, so maybe I'll just submit the same paper. Actually, that's plagiarism. Even though it came from you, it's still plagiarism because when you submit a new paper, the understood assumption of the submission is that this is new research, this is new study that you've done. And so you're breaking the assumptions that are understood in the paper when you submit something that's already been submitted elsewhere. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you cite the information that you've already submitted in other papers. Now, the third type of academic dishonesty that I just want to mention quickly is unapproved collaboration. This is when you're using the help of others when this collaboration is not allowed. A fundamental principle of academic honesty is the desire not to represent another's work as your own. You're not wanting to put words in someone else's mouth, and you're not wanting to say that this information came from you when it didn't. Now, a common way that you might run into this is if, let's say, you used a topic in your discussion board that you posted post and you said, hey, that was a great topic, I want to use it in my paper, and I'll just carry that topic over to my research paper for the class. Now let's say in your discussion board post someone else commented in on that post and had a great idea, made some great points. If you were to then take their ideas and then use those in your research paper later without citing that person, you would be guilty of unapproved collaboration at that point. Thank you for joining me for this quick tutorial and overview. Please remember that the Jerry Falwell Library has what you need to succeed.